Hello and welcome to In Conversation. I am here with Max Scott-Slade of Glitchers. We are at EngFest and you can probably hear everything going on around us. It's an event, a fantastic event that is here to inspire kids into engineering and technology, and some of the activities going are super fantastic. So I advise, if you've not been before, do come along. But Max, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Is this your first time to EngFest?
It's my second, so I did a talk back in 2017 as well.
Okay, so you've just done your talk now.
Yeah.
So what were you talking
The polished version.
The polish. So what were you talking about? How are you inspiring the kids?
I was talking about a little bit about how I sort of started in the industry, because it's such a strange one. I think people often see video games as a weird thing. It's like, well, how do I get into it? So I just started very organically. Just used to love drawing stuff on paper and trying to like modify existing games, you know, make Monopoly winnable by me against my brothers.
Yeah. So when did you start? How did it all come about?
When I was 11 and 12, I was making little stop frame animations and put them on the internet. And that was, I think, for me, like the starting point of being interested in animation, which led to games, which led to everything that is sort of behind me now.
So as a kind of, is it fair to refer to you as a software engineer of sorts, or do you not see that?
Well, I hardly do any coding nowadays.
Yeah.
I mainly just think about what is called like game design. You know, designing games, the rule sets, how you would apply narrative to that, how you'd work in sort of narrative to the way that players feel and control, all that kind of stuff.
So in terms of your past, your heritage, your history of gaming, have you always been a gamer?
Of course, yeah.
So,
always loved gaming from the very start.
What's your kind of go-to game? What's your favourite game of all time?
Well, briefly we were chatting about theme park. That was, I think, one of my favourites. But also Mario Kart. You know, it feels like everyone would say that, but it is just so good. Now
we were talking a moment ago before we switched cameras on about Mario Kart, because I haven't got a Switch. I don't know how many of you guys have got a Nintendo Switch at home, but you were saying that actually Mario Kart on that is absolutely spot on.
Yeah. So a lot of the time, if you know you're on the train or something like that, I do this. If I'm going up to see my parents or my brother or something, just flick off the little controllers and play a little two-player Mario Kart on the train. Seriously, everyone's so jealous.
So, how has gaming changed then, in terms of from a design perspective? When you started out, when you were fiddling about doing your kind of flash bits, how has that changed to what you're doing now and the gaming industry as a whole? Because it's not always been plain sailing.
No, it hasn't. I think the thing that's changed most dramatically is that people expect to play with other people. And I've always seen games as a social thing, and there's always been this sort of retaliation against it being it's isolating and, you know, playing video games is a waste of time. I've always seen them as like entertainment products, just like films or even like listen to a good record, you know. That kind of stuff to me is what you get from a video game as well. But yeah, just sort of like playing with other people and enjoying that experience with other people, whether it's in the same room or across the internet, has been sort of the biggest and best change, because it's allowed us to go, it is a social thing. You know, you're not just chatting like later on about it, you're actually chatting whilst you're doing it with people you know.
So you mentioned it could be like you know, entertainment thing, like listening to a good record. We are clearly here in the IET In Conversation log cabin, and we could be actually anywhere in the world. So let's do that spin of Desert Island Disc. This is Desert Island Game. So you said your favourite game. Would that, if you are stranded in our log cabin on a desert, could happen, and you've only got one game, you know, what would that game be? Your desert island game. The game that you could replay forever. The game, would there be other people on this desert island, or is it just me on my own? You know what, let's do both. Let's start with you on your own, and then we'll introduce Wilson.
What, Wilson? Me and Wilson playing Mario Kart? Come on.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it would be Mario Kart if there was someone else or other people. It's just so good, and I never get bored of it. And then, yeah, some sort of strategy game. One that you could play over and over again, but have different outcomes, like a theme park.
So you've gone back to the toe. Right, we should get this hashtag Desert Island Game. If you've got a Desert Island Game, one game, what would it be? Stick it down in the comments. So, in terms of what you're doing now, so there's more to it than just entertainment now. So actually, you've taken a different direction. Tell us a bit about the stuff you're working on at the minute.
Yeah, cool.
This is incredible, man.
So I think for a long time, video games have always been, seen as an entertainment thing first and foremost, and I think they still are. There's lots of new, more sort of like serious categories. You know, can you do gaming for science? And we sort of straddled this in between in a way. We refuse to believe that games have to be boring to do anything sort of interesting other than being entertainment. But we also think that entertainment is part of that process of actually encouraging people to play games that they know contribute to something like science or whatever. So yeah, we worked with neuroscientists and built a video game that looks and feels like a casual mobile game, but actually is kind of tracking knowingly, you know it's happening, your navigation data in the game. So you sail this boat around for dementia research. So scientists are able to use this data to understand how navigational ability declines with time over huge age ranges and data sets that would otherwise not have existed.
So is that available at present? Is that something we can download now?
So that game was available until a couple of weeks ago. It's been turned off because scientists have got so much data. It's the equivalent of something like 15,000 years worth of lab-based data.
Well,
they would have had to, yeah, so it's amazing. But they're like, turn it off now, we've got enough. But we're working on another thing which is called Nestlings. And Nestlings is a game that is connected to your bank account. Sounds super scary, but it's super, super secure. And the way it works is you have these little characters that exist on an island, and they have this giant egg that they all sort of worship, and that's your nest egg, your savings. And they all represent different behaviors. So one of them might just be a simple roundup. Whenever I pay, this little creature puts money in my nest egg. We've got more complex ones, like if I decide to walk to work, if I decide to change my behavior in some way that the app knows about, it will save money for me. And then also real world events. So if it rains, this little creature will save me money. So it's kind of a really sweet way to get people to engage with their savings, and from a much younger age, but also be really, really transparent about what is actually happening, so they can kind of understand their money at a lot younger age.
That's a nice touch. So when are you looking to have this, to market?
This year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This year?
2019.
It's a big year. Any more specific than that?
I can't know. Well,
This year. 2019.
Nestlings.
Perfect. We'll stick a link down and try and direct towards it. It's been fantastic, mate. So, I mean, we could talk all day. I'm keen gamer. We could keep going. However, I'm aware that you don't probably want to listen to us keep going. So, by all means, hashtag Desert Island Games. Let's get a comment going. Let's get some conversation going down in that comments box. Max, thank you ever so much.
Thanks
I look
a lot.
forward to seeing you
Cheers.
next year.
Thanks a lot.